happy Halloween to everybody here on YouTube, and this is Ron Farrell 73, and as promised, this is the second part of my list video, and this is 25 best horror films part 2. And the first one was a video response to my YouTube buddy Ryan 1988's video, and I've got 25 more favorite horror movies to show. Some of these are sequels. Clocking in at 25, Dario Argento's Tenebrae, one of his better giallo slasher movies, and the effects are definitely mind-blowing. Clocking in at 24, even though I liked Joe Dante's movie, I really did enjoy the 2010 version, and I'm talking about Piranha. Saw it when it was in 3D in the theater and enjoyed it very much, and definitely a really good mix of gore, horror, and humor. Number 23, The Deadly Spawn, also known as Return of the Aliens Deadly Spawn. Really fun alien invasion movie from the early 80s. Out of print, but I heard that Synapse Films is putting it out on Blu-ray with a 4K restoration. Number 22, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors. Definitely one of my favorites of the Nightmare on Elm Street sequels, and I liked that they brought Nancy back. Clocking in at 21, The Terror, which is a classic early 60s Roger Corman film with Boris Karloff, Dick Miller, and Jack Nicholson. Number 20, the original Maniac from the early 80s, and definitely one of my favorite slasher films. Great mind-numbing gore effects courtesy of Tom Savini, and Joe Spinell's performance is excellent. 19, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 from '86, and this was the first of many sequels, so 3 or 4 sequels that came out, and this was directed by Tobe Hooper, and I liked that he added some humor to it this time instead of just making it documentary like the first one. At number 18, Blood Feast, directed by Herschel Gordon Lewis, and love the scene where he breaks into this girl's apartment, and when she knocks on the door, and then he storms in and then rips out her tongue, and it's a foot long, and a little cheesy, but definitely worth it. Number 17, Day of the Dead, which is George Romero's masterpiece, and the third of his zombie saga. Number 16, the original My Bloody Valentine. I'm sure everybody knows that Scream Factory has acquired the rights to some Paramount titles, and I heard that they're putting this out on Blu-ray sometime next year. Number 15, Stuart Gordon's From Beyond. Really good, way out there sci-fi horror film, and it's got some of the actors from Reanimator and Ken Foree in it. Number 14, Dead Alive, one of Peter Jackson's earlier horror films. Really good mix of gore and comedy, and hope that this gets a Blu-ray release soon. Number 13, Vincent Price, Roger Corman's Pit and the Pendulum with Vincent Price, one of my favorites with Vincent Price. Number 12, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, and thought it was a pretty good underrated sequel, even though it didn't have Michael Myers in it. I liked the story to it. At number 11, this gets a lot of shit from people. It gets mixed, but I enjoyed it, and talking about Rob Zombie's version of Halloween from 2007. I liked that he gave Michael Myers a backstory, H2 was good, but not really as good as the first one. And number 10, the original Last House on the Left, was directed by Wes Craven, and I liked the documentary type look of the movie, the grindhouse feel of the movie, and there was a dark side and a soft side to the movie, especially David Hess's music. At number 9, another one from H.G. Lewis, 2000 Maniacs. The 2001 Maniacs was pretty good, but this one was excellent with the kill scenes and the humor to it. Number 8, Asylum, which is an early 70s anthology movie from Amicus, and the stories are pretty good. Number 7, Wes Craven's The Hills Have Eyes, and even though I like the 2006 version, I do like this one also. And number 6, George Romero's first sequel into the zombie saga, Dawn of the Dead. And when I saw this, I never knew it was a sequel to Night of the Living Dead until I found out years later. It's just pretty good, and excellent acting, and hopefully either Scream Factory or Arrow Video will put it out on Blu-ray one of these days. Number 5, Devil's Rejects, directed by Rob Zombie, and I like that it was much more serious than House of a Thousand Corpses. This was more of a road movie with blood and gore to it. And the characters are pretty good. Number 4, Deranged, and this is based on the Ed Gein story, and this came out the same year as Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm not saying that it's better, but I happen to enjoy it very much. And number 3, House of a Thousand Corpses from 2003 and directed by Rob Zombie. And I had heard that it was supposed to have come out in 2001, which was like 2 years earlier, but Rob Zombie had a lot of problems with a couple of studios, and then he finally put it out in 2003 from Lionsgate, and the characters are pretty much off the wall. Number 2, the original classic from George Romero, and of course I'm talking about Night of the Living Dead. And number 1, another one from George Romero, and this is the George Romero Stephen King collaboration, Creepshow from '82, and the stories are pretty good, and I like the comic book atmosphere of the movie. That's all for this list, and hope you enjoyed it. Happy Halloween, everyone, and don't get too drunk or eat too much candy.